My name is Luis Faustino, production engineer, Marathon Oil, Equatorial Guinea. And I'm going to focus today on our wireline campaign for last year. We had 2 wireline campaigns, and this is the first time we do that. First of all, the cost involved in having 2 campaigns in 1 year, but the situation of our field is declining, so we get the management approval to go ahead and conduct full field wireline campaign, which we categorize in 3 different platforms. We have 5 platforms offshore. So my agenda for today is going to be, I'm going to talk about the Alba field overview, Marathon Oil safety culture, because this is our core business, safety, because if we conduct a wireline campaign and somebody gets injured, we will forget about everything that we acquire. Maybe we'll get the data we needed and we increase production, but if somebody gets injured, that would be like what everybody would remember about the campaign. So that's why I put a slide on safety. And then I want to talk about the core business, which is the wireline and data acquisition for the A and B and C platform. And then I'm going to share our lesson learned from our vendor and from our standpoint as operator. Questions and answer is just a standard procedure to have question and answer. I know that there's always question. There might not be answers. So be prepared for that. Okay, basically this field was discovered in 1965, but at that time, based on the technology available and political situations, the field was deemed non-commercial until 1984, sorry. And then the first production was in 1991 by a small American company called Walter International, which drilled only 2 wells. And at that time, when I show you the field layout, one of the A platform was at that time a monopod platform, just having 2 wellheads. So we used to have what we call man actuator. There was one guy we put on the boat every morning to go and actuate the valves. So nothing was automated, it was manual. So that was his job. Go on the boat with the radio, open and close the valves. So that was when Walter has the field. Then when Marathon took over in 2002, we increased from 12 wells to 19 wells. So now, first we used to have those 4 dual wells. They used to be only injection, but now, based on the needs of the field, we convert them to dual services well. We can inject in those wells and we can produce at the same time. Injection when we have problems with the plant, maybe onshore, because I'm going to show you another slide where we have the onshore facility. If we cannot process the gas sent onshore, we have to send it back onshore for injection. So that's why we have those 4 wells as dual service wells, which can do injection and production at the same time. We have 5 platforms. The depth there is the average depth of the field, but there are some areas you can find that we have around 250 feet, so it's like almost shallow field. And the separation starts onshore, but we further separate the products onshore. We're going to see that later on. And we have 6 pipelines which runs from onshore to offshore. Among those 6 pipelines, we have 2 gas lines, 16-inch and 24-inch, and then we have one 20-inch pipeline for condensate. We have 10-inch pipeline which goes from the A platform all the way to shore. That was the old existing pipeline when the field was put in operations. And then the last pipeline is for glycol injection to prevent hydrate formation on the pipeline. And then onshore, we have 2 major facilities. We have the EGLNG plant, which will provide gas from the Alba field. And we have AMCO, which is producing methanol. And also we have our EG Power. That means the gas we produce, we use it to generate electricity in Malabo City. So this is the field of Alba. We have 5 platforms, as I mentioned. The first platform, you can see the A platform, it was the original platform. On your left, I don't know how you can, I think on your left, you can see that was the existing platform. It was a monopod. So when CMS Nomico acquired the field, increased the number of poles and it converted into a tripod. And this is like an old picture. We have a latest picture in which the look of the platform is different. Now we have 5 wells on that platform. And the B was the second platform installed by the CMS Nomeco, where the accommodation is located, which accommodate approximately 65 people on board. And then the B2 is our separation process platform, where we have all the separators. And the B3 is the one we installed in 2016. It's basically for compression, to reduce the TSP of the wells, so that the field can run, we can have the field running for more time. And the C platform is one of the platforms that we installed around 2003 to expand production. We have 6 wells. And those wells, sometimes we get scale, wax, and paraffin in only those wells. And our full capacity production is around 25,000 barrels of condensate per day, and an average of 800 million standard cubic feet of gas, and a capacity of 600 standard cubic feet of gas injection. So we can inject that amount of gas if we cannot process it. As you can see, the picture depicts how the field has been developing. When Marathon acquired the field in 2002, you can just see the bit of the plant. That was just a small plant, few tanks. And now, in 2018, we have the LNG plant functional. We have accommodation residential area. You can see it here. We increased the residential area for the employees. Here we have the new EG power plant. We call it EG power plant. It's just to generate electricity to the city of Malabo. And here we have the methanol plant. And this is the new area of the Marathon onshore operation. In this area here, we process condensate, we process butane and propane. And the excess gas will go to either LNG or to AMCO. If AMCO and Marathon, LNG cannot process the gas will be injected back to offshore. So, talking about the safety culture, all we need is that if somebody comes to work in our facility, goes back the same way they came. How we do that? We have a lot of procedures in place. We have a lot of tools like GSAs. We have stop work authority. Stop work authority is one of our major elements for safety. That means if you go around or either you go around or you are part of the workforce, if you notice there is something that is not going according to the plan, or you are not happy about, even you are not part of the team, you have the authority to stop the job before somebody gets injured. So that's something the management encourages everybody to do. And we have what we call BBS program. In that program, you will record all the observation, either positive or negative, so that the management can take action to prevent people from getting hurt. So all those guys you see on that picture, they went back the same way they look. That was the first day of the campaign. So that means that's something we keep an eye on them. Also, Marathon is concerned about the environment. This is the flaring history of the field. When Malta was operating the field from 91 to 95, they were flaring almost 80 million of standard cubic feet gas they were producing, because they did not have facilities either to inject or to process. But when CMS Nomeco acquired the field, they reduced dramatically the flaring, because they also increased the plant capacity, installing processing plant for propane and butane. And subsequently, when Marathon acquired the field, you can see we are almost flaring 0 gas per day. We flare only in case of an emergency. That will be for a couple of minutes until we have the injection compressors on. That takes about 30 minutes to have them at full rate. So during that period, we can be flaring some amount of gas, but it will be very minimum compared to the previous operators. So this is also something that we feel proud of. We have conducted so many wireline campaigns with 0 injuries. The first one in 2007, we didn't have any recordable incident, no injuries, 0 first aid. That was we call it a successful campaign. We might not achieve our business objective, but as long as everybody goes home in one piece, it's a successful campaign for us. In 2008, we had a minor injury. Somebody got a small cut in the finger, and just for that incident, we spent years talking about hand safety. It was in all of the safety meetings, bulletins, so everything we talk about those years, it was about hand safety. We have to buy special gloves for each kind of craft specific, for electrician, for mechanic, and so on, different type of gloves, to make sure that you are using the right glove for the job, not just the one we have available in store. And then in 2010, due to some negligence, somebody spilled the grease on the floor, on the grading, and one guy slipped on it and got injured on his knee. So these are the things that we capture at the end of every campaign to make sure that we prevent them from the upcoming wireline campaigns. As you can see, we have conducted 4 wireline campaigns, including the one last year, with 0 incident. That's what we want to keep. And for this last wireline campaign, our vendor was getting kind of frustrated because they want to get a job ahead. And our slogan in our company is, take your time, and take your time if you need more time, we will get the job done. But in some of the operators, they will tell you, take your time, hurry up, because we are on schedule. So we don't do that in marathon. We make sure that you complete your job safely, no matter how much time you take. Especially in our last campaign, we took more than 5 days based on our schedule. Why? Because there were some delays, or maybe miscommunication, but we're still in favor to that as long as nobody gets hurt. So I'm going to move into the wireline campaign itself. This was our objective. Our objective was to acquire data because we need to fine-tune our reservoir model, and also to see, we are working on our life of the field right now project, so that we want to know how many more years we have left in the field, because right now we are not drilling new wells and the field is declining. So we decided to do this. For the A platform, it was basically PLT and PBU. But the PLT, the PBU and A platform was more than the normal. Normally, the PBU running for 24 hours, but in this case, it was for 100 hours. Why? Because we wanted to see, we wanted to see if there is any connection, because we have another block here we have not tapped in yet. So we wanted to see if there is any connection or there is any hydrocarbon in that area, so that we can make a decision either to drill a well or not. That's why the PBU for these 2 wells took more than normal. So it was basically PBU. And for the B platform, we conducted PLT PBUs. We added some perforation in new zones and existing zones, and also isolate some water-producing zones. So this is basically what I have explained about the A platform, what we did. We had some minor issues because we have to leave a fish in the A3 because of some problems we faced during the campaign. And it is not affecting our production because the tool got stuck at the rat hole. So we leave it there, and then we came back to the surface. For the B and C platform, basically the objective was to add perforations and install plugs to areas that we are producing a lot of water. So that's what we did. We had minor issues. We have one wire that was stuck in one of the wells, and intentionally we damaged one of the valves. What happened here is what we call complacency. The guys, they were getting used to the operations, and there was some miscommunication between the engineer and the crew chief. What happened, I think the engineer just made a thumb up like they are coming up, and the crew chief understood like we have all the equipment is already at the surface. It has been bumped up and they can close the swap valve. But it was not what the intention of the engineer. It was just telling that we are coming up, and the crew chief understood us. We already bumped it, so we can go and close the valve, and that's why we had that incident. It happened because they were so used to it and they were doing it correctly, but for that simple miscommunication, something went wrong. We expect that in every campaign, but we try to avoid that in the future. We want to keep direct communication, no signals, nothing like that. Just have the communication one-on-one and make sure that you understand, not just pretend that I think this is what he's trying to tell me. That's what happened in that incident. So here, on this well, we conducted only PBU, and on C20, we did all the work scope on this particular well. We did PLT, PBU, we added perforation, and installed a plug. In this well, we had one issue because we installed the first plug. I'm going to show that on my lesson learned. We installed one plug, and that plug got some issues. That means the plug was activated before it gets to the depth we wanted to install it. So I'm going to talk about that on the lesson learned. And also, we have to change the type of plug from that moment, and we acquire easy drill plug from Halliburton, which we end up using throughout the whole campaign. So on the lesson learned, is basically is our core element after every project. It might be wireline, might be installation of a new platform. We go back with the vendor, everybody involved in the lesson learned, so that we mitigate those incidents from happening in the next project. We lost about 55 hours due to the bad planning of the project, because we planned the project during the rainy season, which affects our campaign because we have all this downtime due to weather condition. So in the future, we are planning to schedule our projects during the dry season so that we don't have this problem. So that's one thing. And on the table, we have highlights from each one of the vendors, Marathon, SLB, and the World Drilling and Completion Organization. So these are recommendations and things to improve in the upcoming campaign. For Marathon, we are using a different color coding compared to the rest of the companies. So when the contractor comes in with his color code, with the rigging equipment with a different color, maybe they are certified, but for us, still, they have to go through recertification. In this causes delays, frustration, because it's money. If you have to call a vendor to do certification of your equipment, it's not for free. So that's something we need to work on. Either we follow their certification process or they adapt to our own. Also, for the logistics side, one of the delays we had, it was due to logistics. Why logistics? Because right now, SLB doesn't have many operations in Equatorial Guinea. So all the equipment has to come from all over the place to Equatorial Guinea. And accidentally, we have 2 ports in Equatorial Guinea. If you don't ask, especially in Malabo, we have 2 ports. You have one oil terminal port and we have commercial terminal. So if you send oil and gas industry equipment to the commercial terminal, you're going to face a lot of difficulties to get it cleared because they don't understand the movement of equipment in and out. There they understand only equipment, something comes in and stays in. But in the oil terminal, they are prepared. They know that this equipment will come in for the work, and then we'll go back out. So that was one of the reasons we had delays for the starting of the program. And for the WDC, we had some issues on these areas here. We had, in one case, we put names. Actually, we shouldn't be putting names, specific people. We should put general names, like we're going to have so many parties for this job. But we put names, and then if we have somebody else whose name was not on the list, it becomes a confusion. Who is going to do this job? Let's say we have Mark here, and then we say Peter coming to do it. If Peter is qualified to do the job, either we name everybody we put the names of everybody that will get involved, or we just leave it without names. That's something we have to fix in the future. So this is the summary of the project. This is when the contract was awarded. The campaign was supposed to start here, 24th of August, but we end up starting around 6th of September. That was pretty much 6 weeks delay. So you can see that here, 6 weeks delayed because of the clearance of the equipment from the custom. So basically, these are the highlight and the low light of the campaign. I'll start with the low light. We had 6 weeks delay, and then we have 5 days, additional 5 days for the campaign, and also we have some equipment left in the well. For the highlight, we have, this is our key highlight, safe and injury-free operations. This is our main objective. Make sure that you come to work for Marathon, you go back in one piece. Okay, that's one of the things we wanted to highlight here. Okay, this is the feedback we got from our vendor. After we have our last meeting, they say we have a very high standard of HES, so our safety standards are very high, but I know during the campaign, they were getting a bit kind of frustrated that they cannot start with their work until we satisfy with all the safety requirements. So we have to encourage them to understand that we want to get this job done, but we want to get it done safely. So that's one thing there. At the end of the campaign, they understood that is one of our priorities. We don't care about the time. We do, but not that much as making sure that you don't get injured. Because if you get injured, that's going to be the record of the campaign. If we achieve more production, we will conduct the campaign on the budget. It will not be counted if somebody gets injured. And also, we recommended them to improve their logistics because right now, they have to have all equipment in country before they start the campaign because we have some delays on the last one. And also the QC of the equipment before we ship it in. If the equipment is coming from Angola, they have to make sure that the equipment is functional before it comes to EG. Because in EG, they might not have the same technical personnel as they might do elsewhere. Same thing goes here. One of the incidents we had, no major, is the peak sim. One of the plugs, you're going to see the picture of that. The plug was deployed before it gets to the desired depth. So that's one thing I'm going to show you the pictures afterward. And also we have some damage of the wire. And also we had too much delay on operating the mast because the mast we used, it was an articulated mast. And as per marathon procedures, it cannot be lowered at night because we have to physically remove the pin. And sometimes that pin will get stuck. We cannot remove it. We have to make sure that a mechanic comes on board to remove the pin. So that was causing us some delays also. So for our upcoming campaigns, we want to suggest the vendor brings in a telescopic mast. So you can see this is the mast we use for the campaign. It's an articulated. And every section of this, it has a pin. Hydraulically, it can be removed, but sometimes it cannot be removed, so you need somebody to come and make sure that that can be removed. We have to build scaffolds to reach there to remove the pin. But also, if it's nighttime on this platform, we cannot do it. We have to wait till morning, so that was causing also delays on our campaign. So this is the plug, one of the plug, the peak sim plug that swallowed before it gets to the position. We're still on the investigation to find out the causes of why this plug was deployed before it gets to the desired depth. So we end up buying easy drill plugs to continue because it was just a decision made. Somebody mentioned that there are many decisions we have to make throughout the campaign. We have planned decision, and as we progress during the activities we are doing, we have to make all the decisions. So we end up buying easy drill plugs instead of this. We bought 4. At the beginning of the campaign, we end up using different model. We use easy drill, Halliburton plugs because of this, because we were afraid if we continue using those plugs, we might have this kind of situation. And we were lucky that we were able to retrieve this plug at the surface. So this is also one of the incidents when the crew chief went and closed the swap valve, thinking that all the equipment was already at the surface. So that damaged the wire. And also this is pulling too fast, the tool string, that also caused the damage on the wire. Thank you.